Hello, everybody. Welcome back to This Day in History. It is August 27th, 2024. And as you know, it's not about the year, but it's about the magic of the date. And once again, my hair is windblown. I do the 270 method. I don't have AC in my car, so I roll down the windows. And I'm not really driving 70 miles an hour because where I live it's kind of a rural city, and I'm on a back road, so it's more like 250. So, not 270, 2 miles, two windows down, 70 miles an hour. That's your air conditioning. Well, at any rate, first and foremost, happy birthday to my stepbrother Cody. I hope you have a great day. It's a beautiful, bright, sunny day here where I'm at. Blue skies, white clouds. Just a really nice day. So hopefully, my brother is having a good day wherever he is. I don't really talk to him very often, an occasional message here and there on Facebook. I did reach out and wished him a happy birthday, so. But yeah, hopefully you're having a pleasant day wherever you are, and the sun just got really bright, and so my face is like whiting out for some reason. At any rate, this day in history. So let's get into it, shall we? Birthdays. 1890. Man Ray, he was an American painter and photographer. He was born on this day. 1906, Ed Gein, Gein, he was born on this day. Now, interesting story about this guy. He's an American serial killer, and his story is so bizarre that it was the inspiration for movies such as Psycho, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Silence of the Lambs. And the reason being is that this guy he was very much abused by his parents. His father was an alcoholic. His mother verbally abused him, and yet he idolized her for some reason. And it was said that he just had really strange behavior. So here's where Psycho comes in. Norman Bates had a really weird fascination with his mother. Always referred to his mother. And then at the end of the movie, you find out that there's the corpse, the skeleton of his mother, sitting in a wig and all this and that in this room. So he killed some people. He from reading between the lines, he killed his brother because his brother was calling into question, his weird fascination with their mom. If I'm reading between the lines, again, he killed his mother as well. He killed a lady at the hardware store, and they said that was like money related. And when they found his, when they went to his place and they took him into custody, they found like, dug up body parts. I mean, he'd go to graveyards and he'd dig up body parts, and he would make, like just weird shit, right? So, Silence the Lambs, that sort of thing. And he would carve up the woman that from the hardware store. Her body was found decapitated. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, it was in a brutal fashion, just like that. So he was like not a very nice guy. He ended up going to trial. He ended up standing trial and for one murder, and the other murders he was declared or criminally insane. He ended up dying in an insane asylum in the 80s. So, yeah, good times. In 1908, we see the birth of Don Bradman. He was an Australian cricketer. That's a game down there. I don't get it, but okay. It's of that British, Australian, New Zealand variety, I guess. I don't know. Also on this day in 1908, we have our 36th president, Lyndon Baines Johnson. He was born on this day. Yay. Look, man, I'm a Kennedy. We don't like Johnson. So, but, he was president of the United States, so therefore got to give him the respect that was due. I respect the office. Maybe I don't necessarily respect that man, but Yeah, he was a shady cat, and he was I believe wholeheartedly that he had something to do with Kennedy's assassination. He was the one who had the most to gain from it. Moving on. 1961, Tom Ford, American fashion designer. He was born on this day. So let's get into the history, right? So in the history, we have some pretty significant events that shaped not only our history, um, but history of the world, really. 1776, the Continental Army is led by General George Washington. He is soundly defeated at the Battle of Long Island. It's in New York, by British general and British troops, General William Howe of the British Army. So Washington suffers a defeat, and now it kind of makes sense as to why there was such a huge British presence on Long Island. If you've ever watched the I think it was AMC, TV series called Turn, it's on Netflix, or at least it was when I watched it. Great series, and it really showcases the spy network that Washington had, and they were all based out of Setauket, which is a town on Long Island. And it was, even after all of these years, that they were all sworn to secrecy. So like they have an idea of who some of the key players were, but there are some key players that they suspect they know who they were, but no one ever confirmed, because they took those secrets to their graves. They had an amazing cipher system. They had a code book. They had words and phrases, and I mean, like, it was a very extensive, detailed code. And how they were able to pass on messages was simply, one woman would do her laundry, and it was the specific time of day and a specific garment that she'd put out, and that was how they knew that there was a message waiting for them in their secret, spot. And messages were also sent back and forth that way. There was also a newspaper, not the editor himself, but someone who worked at the paper in this TV series. I don't know how historically accurate it is, but in this TV series, this guy would buy adverts in that newspaper, and he would carefully craft these adverts to basically, what they were doing is they were actually in plain sight giving detailed information to, they were funneling information from one part of the spy ring to General Washington and the like. And it was just one of those things where it was pretty effective. I mean, what is it they call that, cryptology or something like that? And some of the practices they employed then are still used today. There have been heavily modified, but the encryptions, the codes, and all that, I mean, it's essential in spycraft, and they still utilize some of those techniques today in the world of spycraft. And every nation does it, I'm sure. But it was pretty impressive how they would pass messages to each other right under the nose of the British. Like, in fact, the British could see the messages, just didn't know that they were messages. So it was pretty ingenious how they did that. But the British had Long Island for quite some time, until they lost the war, really. So 1859, we move on. 1859, Edwin Laurentine Drake struck oil while drilling in Titusville, Pennsylvania. He became the first driller to produce an oil well in the United States. Little fun fact there. I believe that later, if I'm remembering my history right, that led to the creation of, they were producing oil, they were manufacturing oil, and it led to the formation of Pennzoil. The oil that you get at the store to go put in your car, or the oil change places, Jiffy Lube, for instance, that utilizes Pennzoil and Quaker State, which is a sub company of Pennzoil. So that's where it kind of all got its start, I believe. I could be mistaken, but I think I do believe that that's what kick-started Pennzoil. That's where Pennzoil came from. 1928, the Kellogg-Briand Pact signed between the U.S. and France in a series of peacekeeping efforts took place, on this day. It was I read up on it, right? So what it is that the League of Nations is formed after World War I is concluded, but yet the United States doesn't join the League of Nations. And probably for good reason. Probably for the same reason we probably should have been, not created the UN, because the League of Nations did such a bang-up job keeping World War II from happening. It's like history always tends to repeat itself when you just don't pay attention, right? So it's like a global conflagration breaks out, World War I, right? And in the aftermath, they decide, we're going to create this global entity that's going to hinder global warfare from ever breaking out again, i.e. the League of Nations, right? Well, World War II breaks out due to the lack of ability of the League of Nations to do what they were chartered to do, and that was to ensure that, despots don't get out of hand. So they were mandated, they were chartered to ensure that Hitler did not come to power and did not raise an army, did not have a means of waging war. And who was running the League of Nations? Well, basically it was the British. It was Neville Chamberlain. And Neville Chamberlain was so naive into thinking that, hey, I'm gonna have Hitler sign this piece of paper and everything's gonna be fine. He, like Saddam Hussein in the 90s and early 2000s, he did not care about that piece of paper. It meant nothing to him unless the entity that is issuing that piece of paper is willing to back it up. It means nothing. It meant nothing in the League of Nations. It meant nothing in the UN. Not until we went into Iraq and we took care of business. People got really mad at the United States for doing that, but the fact is that the United States was backing up what the UN had put down. The UN had sanctioned this man, Saddam, for, it was 16 UN resolutions in the span of 12 years. Enough was enough, right? This is what the League of Nations should have done with Hitler, but didn't. So I'm digressing, but it's all kind of relative. So what is this Kellogg-Briand Pact about? Well, really what it's about ensuring that the United States gets involved should something happen in a global fashion. Another conflagration breaks out. It is their way of ensuring that the United States is going to be honor bound to assist the Allies when they are in need. It was a roundabout chicken shit way of bringing us into the League of Nations, which I think eventually we did become members of the League of Nations. We did go to the League of Nations when it came to Japan. We strongly sanctioned them about their warmongering in Asia, and we told them to knock it off. They gave us some friendship medals, and then all of a sudden, December 7th, 1941 happens, and then we're like, all right, I guess we're going to war now. So, that's what that pact was all about. It was about ensuring that the United States gets involved when the time is appropriate to do so. 1964. Oh, no. Wait. We go back to 1939. All right. So this is the predecessor, right? I mean, it's got to be the predecessor. I mean, the groundbreaking work that's done here is what eventually would be. I'm sure the work here was applied for the creation of the ME 109. It's 1939. This German by the name of Ernst Heinrich Heinkel, he develops the HE 179. It's a turbojet powered aircraft, right? First of its kind. It's a jet airplane, right? It makes its first flight on this day in 1939. So they had jet airplanes before World War I even broke out. You got to remember, World War I broke out September 1st, 1939. That's not too far away. That's 5 days from now? 4 days from now. Oh, there's the 31st. So 5 days from now is the anniversary of when World War I breaks out. They had jet airplanes before they invaded Poland. I didn't know this. Interesting. 1964, Mary Poppins premieres in Los Angeles. It becomes an instant Disney classic, and it put Julie Andrews on the map. This was her big screen debut. 1979, Louis Mountbatten is also known as the first Earl Mountbatten of Burma. He's assassinated by the Provisional Irish Republican Army. It was the IRA was really they were really known for their car bombs. Well, this was a boat bomb. His boat was moored in Donegal Bay, Ireland. They put a bomb in his boat. It exploded. He died. So the IRA killed this guy because that's what they do. They're not. If you're of any kind of British royalty, they're of course they're going to target you. 2008. Today marks the day in 2008 where Barack Obama was nominated for the presidency, and it marked a lot of firsts. He's the first African American to be nominated for the presidency within either party. He's the first African American, period, to be nominated for the presidency. A few other African Americans had, well, Jesse Jackson for one, but he never got any kind of solid ground there. 2011, Hurricane Irene causes over $7 billion in damages. It's the most expensive Atlantic hurricane in U.S. history. It hit South Carolina and just went right up the eastern seaboard. And a couple featured events here. 1997, Mother Teresa, famous Catholic nun. She passed away on this day in 1997 in Kolkata, India. This day also marks the death of Titian, 1576. August 27th, 1576 marks the day that the greatest Italian Renaissance painter of the Venetian school passed away. It was described of him was that he was the sun amidst small stars, not only among Italians, but all the painters of the world. So that concludes this day in history for August 27th. We'll do this again tomorrow, August 28th, as we always do. I got to eat and go to work. So that's it. Have a great day. Be blessed. Take care. And we'll do this again tomorrow for the 28th. All right. See you. Bye.